video lecture for Java event-driven programming. So before that, I'd like to clarify muna na uh, we are already done with Java GUI. I have already provided you with the basics of it. So if you are into it, you can go search some online courses with Java GUI. So you might be wondering, sir, why did you provided us with knowledge on Java GUI? So the reason behind that one is that we cannot appreciate Java event handling without interfaces. That's why I presented first Java GUI. But right now, what we will be focusing starting today and then in the coming videos will be Java event handling. Okay, so I hope you get to understand that one. So let's start first with its definition. Event handlers consist of different objects that interact with each other. So an example for objects that may interact within the program could either be a button, your icons, your labels, your frames, your panels. So everything that we have created in the previous lectures, those can be considered as objects that may interact with each other. Another thing also is that event handlers will allow us to tell that our program to respond in a way whenever some specific events happen. So in simple terms, the use of event handlers will provide our program with the correct interaction between the user and the program. So sila yung kumbaga yung makikita ng end user natin whenever they will be using our program. So don't worry because just like in Java GUI, event handlers comes with libraries. And then don't worry because the platform that you will be using, yung Java Eclipse, also provides what they call this one, guide on what particular libraries should be used whenever a particular event will be created. Okay, so we don't need to worry about that. Now, event handlers are made up of four general things. The first one, we have the event. You also have the event source. You also have the event listener and the response. So let's discuss first what is an event. Okay. So first things first, an event is something that happens while the program is running. Please take note of the word running. So it means na if the program is not yet what you call this one running, there is no such thing as event that will happen. Okay? So ibig sabihin, if you are still coding and if you are still debugging, it means na there is no particular event that is happening. But by the moment you run it and then it runs successfully, it means that there will be a possibility that there are some events that will happen when the user interacts with the program. Okay? So what are example of these events? So for example, when you ask the user to press or to input his name, that can be an example of an event. When you try to terminate a frame, that can be considered as an event. Okay? Like for example, you click this one, you click this button, and then it will trigger or it will tell the program na whenever this user clicks this button, the window should be closed. Okay? That's an example of an event. Or for example, when an image file finishes loading, that's an example of an event. So anything or an interaction among the objects within the program are considered to be as event. Okay? So the second one is the event source. Okay? So sila yung pinagmumulan ng kung ano mang event ang gagawin ng program. So by definition, event source is the object that dispatches the event. So sila yung, kumbaga, they are the initiators of the event. Okay? So sila yung unang, what do you call this one, the first thing that will be used whenever an event will likely to happen. Okay? Like kung gusto ng user na i-view yung particular report, so this particular object should be clicked. Okay? So we are talking about objects. So an example for this one is a button. So an event source is actually, like if you will try to put a logic on it, the event source, yung button or yung event source na ginagawa natin was that it notifies the program nga, hey, I am click, or hey, I am being asked to do this one. Okay? Yan yung purpose ni event source. Like, it announces to the whole program na, hey, the user would want to see this one. hey, the user would want to view this one, hey, the user would want to close this one. Okay? Yan yung purpose ni event source. So, ibig sabihin, kung wala tayong object na ilalagay, mahihirapan si program na mag-provide ng what you call this one, particular interface para yung event is mangyari. So, if there will be no event source, there will be no event that will happen. Okay? So, after this one, you also have this event listener. So, 'di ba ibig sabihin yung kanina you have the event source and then yung ginagawa niya is that it notifies. So, yan lang yung ginagawa niya. But then the execution of the process of the event is provided by the event listener. So, the event listener, this is an object that notifies whenever an event is being dispatched. So, kung si event source, siya yung nagno-notify na what you call this one, like it announces to the whole program. Si event listener naman, it observes if there is a particular notification. Okay? So, sa kanya ipapasa yung task, okay? Ni nung task na gustong i-perform ni user. Okay? So, it sits and it waits and it notifies also the others that will be triggered whenever this particular event is being asked by the user. Okay? Yan yung purpose ni event listener. Yung purpose lang niya or yung role lang niya is maghintay, mag-observe, and then mag-notify ng mga iba't ibang objects. Okay? Na, hoy, this one, I am already notified by the event source. Ibig sabihin, gagawin natin to. Okay? So, with event listener, yung event listener, meron siyang partner. Yung partner niya is si response. Okay? So, response actually is the trigger or not a trigger but a response is being triggered by the preceding components which are the event source and also the event listener. So, if the button is clicked, diba? If the button is clicked, the event listener will notify na this particular response should be provided to the user. Okay? Tapos si response na yung gagawa. So these are example of responses that maybe we can encounter whenever we proceed with the Java event handling. So for example, when you click a button, so let's say let's play a sound for the user. When you click this button, let's display this image. When we click this button, we open a new window. So actually, if you perform my task performance for midterm, this is already done, 'di ba? Like nagawa na natin ito, but then let's discuss more of it, 'di ba? Let's discuss more of it in the succeeding video lectures. So yung ginawa lang natin sa midterm, it's just the viewing man, yun 'di ba? Like you hide and then you unhide the frames as well as the icons. Okay? Now, let us be reminded na, 'di ba, sabi ko kanina, si response comes with event listener. So in every event listener, meron siyang particular response. Now you have it here. The response is specified using the event listener object. So if you will try to analyze this one, like yung four general things of event handling, all of them are what do you call this one? Like they are arranged in a manner na yung end goal niya is si event, 'di ba? So mauuna talaga yung creation of the event source, yung anong gagawin ni event listener, tapos ano yung response na ibibigay sa what do you call this one? Ibibigay sa user. Okay? So the three of them or the four of them works together to provide an interface, an interactive interface to the user. Yan yung purpose niya. Okay? So first things first, yung ginagawa talaga in Java event handling is that we tend to identify first what particular event. Okay? Yan yung first one. The second one is that you try to identify like how should or what particular object should handle this event. Okay? So that's why you have your event source. Okay? And then you have the event listener and then the response. So the event listener and response will probably the ones who are in charge in providing an output interface for the event. Nakalabitang makita, yung talagang nakikita ng end user na, okay, this is already an event. Okay? So if you have questions, you can comment it below. And then let's try, not let's try, but I'd like to give credits to Tube Tutorials because he provided a good discussion on this one. So the materials have been I use for this video lecture is from this YouTube channel. You can subscribe to his channel as a what do you call this one, as a gratitude. Okay. And for our task performance, let's try to look around because uh, para alam natin what are those things na 'di ba, usually we do things but then we don't know the correct terms for that one. So right now what we will do is that we will try to observe the event handling of Facebook, though it's not created in Java, but then they are also implementing event handling man. So you comment one observation that specifies the event, the source, and its response. Okay. So for example, whenever I click the Facebook logo, I am redirected to my newsfeed. Diba, if you notice, if you click the Facebook icon, I think that's on the left side of your mobile man siguro. So if you click that one, diba, you are not in your mobile but in your browser. But if you click the Facebook logo, you are redirected or pinupunta ka niya sa newsfeed mo. Okay? So that's an example of an event handling. Okay? There is a particular object that I need to manipulate and then I am provided with a response. Okay? Diba? So, ayun. So, when an example output for this one is itong nasa ibaba. So, for example, whenever I click the Facebook logo, I am redirected to my newsfeed. So, since babad naman tayong lahat sa Facebook, why not use it, okay, for our task performance? Please don't forget to write your name in this format so that I can record it properly, okay? So, if you have any other questions, again, you can just comment it below. Thank you so much for joining me today.